Okay guys, welcome to this week's podcast. I'm Jonathan, and today in our agenda, we'll be going over the weekly review. Colin Kaepernick has finally settled his lawsuit, so we'll be talking about that. Possible MLB strike and Verlander ripping on GMs. Then we'll be covering the AAF for the last 2 weeks because I forgot to cover it in the last video. That's my bad. We're going over wrestling because the Elimination Chamber was last night, and then our weekly question. So we'll start off with Purdue lost to Maryland on Tuesday night, 56-70. They didn't play very good in that game at all. They just played sloppy and they didn't play as a team. So that's why they lost. Michigan State beat Wisconsin 67-59 on Tuesday night. Good game from both teams. The University of Michigan lost to Penn State, giving Penn State their only conference win of the season so far, and they lost 69-75 on Tuesday night also. That was a big shocker because Michigan was heavy favorites going into that game. But stuff happens. You gotta play your game, don't play down to your competition if you want to win. Then Purdue played Penn State on Saturday and they won 76-64. And Purdue was playing sloppy all game, and then they had a few moments or a few runs of greatness where they really took the lead, and then they would let Penn State come back, and then they would take the lead again. But all around sloppy game from them. Glad they still won though. Then the University of Michigan beat Maryland by quite a bit, 65-52 on Saturday. It's a big improvement from them losing to Penn State, of course. I didn't really watch the game because I'm not a U of M fan, as you can see. Michigan State, go Sparty, go Green. But yeah, it just looked like a normal game from looking at this. Michigan State then beat Ohio State last night, 62-42. It's a good 20-point game there, and that was on Sunday. Nick Ward will be out probably the rest of the season after suffering a hairline fracture in his left hand, I believe. I believe it was his left. So that's big news for any teams playing Michigan State, because now Joshua Langford and Nick Ward are both out, who are both big scorers on their team. But next man up. Moving on from college basketball, we will go to the NBA, where last Monday Detroit won against Washington 121-112. I don't watch the NBA, I just cover it, so looks like that was a pretty good game, pretty average game, but a bit above average on scoring. Then Detroit lost a tight one to Boston, 110-118 on Wednesday night. Another average game. Boston outplayed them. Boston has a fairly decent team, so that wasn't too surprising for me to see. But it is what it is. Then last night, Team LeBron beat Team Giannis. I probably screwed that up. 178-164 in the All-Star game for the NBA. That is pretty much a no defense game, all offense from what I've watched in those games, and they always have high scoring games. So just a whole bunch of guys screwing around and trying to score as many points as possible. And then people blaming each other for screwing up draft picks and stuff. Whatever. Moving on to the NHL, where Detroit lost to Chicago on Sunday night, and last Sunday night, and they lost 2-5. Chicago's a really good team. The Red Wings have been up and down a lot this season, so it's not that surprising. So then Tuesday night, Detroit got back in the win column, 3-2 over Nashville. So good job there. And then on Thursday night, they continued this win streak and actually turned it into a win streak with 2 wins, beating Ottawa 2-3. Then Detroit had this was such a high scoring game between Detroit and Philadelphia. At the end of the second period, it was 3-1, or it was 4-1, one of the two. And then Philadelphia scored. It was 3-1. Philadelphia scored twice in the opening 1 minute and 36 seconds, roughly. And then after that, Detroit scored twice in the next 2 minutes. And then Detroit was able to tie at 5 with almost no time left in regulation. That ended up losing in overtime, sadly, on Saturday. Then, Sunday night, last night, Detroit sought revenge and it did not get it. They lost 1-3 against Philadelphia to, I think, close out that series. Pardon me. So that wraps up our NHL coverage there. To the NFL, the Lions cut Glover Quinn, which isn't too surprising, but I honestly thought they would cut Nevin Lawson with him, but they didn't. So what I'm thinking is they're going to hold on to him until right around the draft and either try to trade him for a pick or they will release him after getting somebody back. But more coverage on that once we get into draft season, because this is kind of the weird point in the year where there's not much going on because we have to wait for the combine. Also, the Cleveland Browns signed Kareem Hunt. This is really big because now they have Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in that backfield. Both powerhouses, both really fast, both of them insane young. If they figure out how to use them, like what I was thinking, if this isn't going to happen, but if Detroit for some reason was to get Kareem Hunt like before Cleveland signed, or if they were to get Le'Veon Bell, I was thinking run a 2-back with Stafford in either shotgun or under center, and then you could hand off to either one. Or you could direct snap it to them, and then have one run one way and then pass back or stuff like that. It would be insane. So if I don't think Cleveland's coaches are going to see this, but if you are, I would like to see that run. Run a 2-back in the backfield. One on the left, one on the right, because you don't want I-form for this, because you can't direct snap to the back guy. But run 2-backs, direct snap to one every so often, and just make every team not know what you're doing. It's going to be interesting. I say try it out. It will be fun to watch, if anything. Do it when you're up big in the game. So if you're playing like Arizona or the Raiders or something like that next year and they're not good, or any not good team next year, Buffalo. Now after I say this, all three of these teams are going to be good. But when you're playing a bad team, just do that. And just see what happens. If you're up 3 touchdowns in the last 3 minutes of the game, just run that for fun. See what happens. I would love to see the highlight reel on that. Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reid settled their collusion case against the NFL. It was a lawsuit because they both were being colluded upon by the NFL owners and the GMs. And that's against league rules, and that's illegal, I'm pretty sure, in the US, but it might not be. But it's at least against league rules. So they had a lawsuit against them. They did not go to court. I'm going to stress that. They did not go to court. Everybody's saying they did not. His lawyer has said they did not go to court. The NFL has said they have not gone to court. Because it's a lawsuit, not something that they're not like suing them. It's just a lawsuit where it's just bargaining, like collective bargaining between the two. It's not them actually going to court to see a judge. I cannot stress that enough because so many people are claiming it is not. So that panned out. So now both of them are available to be picked up on free agency by any team that wants them. And Kaepernick's lawyer said that there are currently 3 teams looking into possibly getting him. That includes the New England Patriots, the Carolina Panthers and one disclosed team. This disclosed team could, from what I'm looking at, it's most likely Washington, because Alex Smith isn't going to be playing next year most likely because of his broken leg. But the only problem with that is they are screwed on money because they guaranteed the money to Alex Smith and then he got hurt and they can't get out of that. The only other teams I can really think of that need a quarterback, because Colin's kind of old. So, Jacksonville. Jacksonville definitely could use him. Jacksonville and Washington. I would be fine with the Lions getting him. I actually kind of want the Lions to get him because I love Stafford, but I would also like to see Kaepernick playing for us because that'd be real nice. That'd be cool. Same thing with like the Nick Foles thing. Just have them share reps. Just have, if one's not doing too hot one day, put in the other one. Or just sub them out every other drive, or put them in for part of a drive and then take them out. I guess kind of like a Taysom Hill type thing with the Saints. And also Colin Kaepernick can run. Matt Stafford, he can kind of run now that he's lost a lot of weight and he's gotten more fit, but Colin Kaepernick is definitely a scrambling quarterback. Have him in there for situations where he could pass or he can scramble versus just having to pass. Because Matthew can run, but he's not as fast as Kaepernick, and he definitely isn't the scrambling type. So, that is another possibility. The reason why Carolina would want him is that Cam Newton is still injured and possibly won't be back for the start of the season, meaning that they would need another quarterback to step up and take his spot. They could sign Kaepernick to a small deal, and then after, like a 1-year deal, and then after Cam Newton comes back, either deal him, release him, or just keep him till the end of the year. New England kind of surprised me with it, but also not at the same time, because Kraft has said he was, or Kaepernick's lawyer said that Kraft said that he was open to signing Kaepernick, which good for him, and I really respect that guy, except for he was the one who told Bill Belichick not to trade Brady and to trade Garoppolo away when Garoppolo is the future of that team. So that's the only thing really that I don't like about Kraft with this stuff, but I really like the fact that he is like, I show interest in getting Kaepernick, even though it's a whole bunch of controversy surrounding him. Take that risk, kind of like the Browns did. Take the risk. The Cincinnati Bengals could also use him because Andy Dalton's decent, but he's not that good. So maybe they want to try that. I'm not thinking they will, but it's a possibility that they could. That I think is all the teams that I could see getting him. Because I would have said Denver, but they just got Joe Flacco. And I'm not thinking Peyton Manning's going to, or not Peyton Manning, John Elway's going to get Colin Kaepernick. And the Arizona Cardinals don't want anybody starting over Josh Rosen. They said that he's the future. I don't get it, but we gotta trust them, I guess. Trust their process. Let me know if you guys can think of any teams. Personally, I think that Kaepernick should be in the league still, and that I would love to have him back in the league. I know many people say that they don't want him back. I have a lot of friends that say if he comes back into the league, they aren't watching it, or like they will get rid of all their league stuff and then not watch. And they will not support even like the Lions, who are their favorite team. They won't support them if he comes back and he joins the Lions. I have other friends that agree with me and that support him on it and think that he's a good quarterback and everything. I don't think that... I agree with him protesting, but the way he did it, I do not necessarily agree with. But I will say many people get mad at him taking the knee when in reality it was a veteran that told him to take a knee because it showed respect versus just sitting. because he said sitting was disrespectful. So many people don't know that and will say that he took a knee to be disrespectful to veterans. He took a knee to be respectful to veterans while still protesting the police brutality and the inequalities of blacks in America and any minorities. So I support him with that. I don't necessarily support how he did it, but if a veteran says that instead of sitting, because that's disrespectful, you should kneel, and then people turn that on you and say that all veterans say it's disrespectful, and they don't know the other story, you should at least look into it and look through the stories and then make your judgment. Okay? Sorry that I'm going through this all, but you need to go and look at all angles of this story before you just make a judgment. Because a lot of people they don't think of him well, and they think of him as a super bad guy when he was trying to be as respectful as he could while still getting his point across. And I think it's very important for him to have protested this, because one, it's something that needed to be brought up, I feel like. And two, he's using his platform that he's gotten to through the NFL to publicize his beliefs. And that is what a lot of players, I feel like, should do. When they get to the pros, if they have a belief they believe in and they think that something is wrong, they should feel free to protest and to spread their thoughts in any ways that they want. And that's one, their right, and two, that's just something I think a lot of people should do, because it's spreading your belief, and you use the platform, spread your cause. Like, if you want to stop cutting down of forests, like the mass clearing of it, find some way to protest it and use that platform. Get the word out about it. Trying to think of not super edgy topics to use for examples. Like, we're not going to use Trump's wall or anything as an example for or against, but say that you are a supporter of PETA and you don't like the killing of animals. You should be able to freely talk about that and spread the word of it, and just use your platform that you've earned through being a good player or a specialist at your position. And you should be able to use that and spread your ideas and your cause. Because to me, that's very important that you get it out there. Or support for military personnel is kind of like a different thing. But if you want to support something with the military that you think isn't being stressed enough or something, I guess you should be able to do that and be like, this action that's being taken isn't right, or they should be taking this action and they aren't. And you should be able to peacefully protest that, get the word out, and get support for it. Or here's a good one: the SpongeBob tribute at the Super Bowl halftime show. You should be able to protest if they should have done if they should have done at least the chorus of Sweet Victory, or if what they did was just fine. Personally, I think they should have done Sweet Victory, because they should have paid more homage to the creator of SpongeBob, who passed away. But it was the NFL's decision not to do that. Maybe they do something later this year about it. Hopefully they do. Like, maybe 1 week of them wearing like yellow socks or something like that. Or like having a patch on their jersey or something. I don't know. Just have fun in the league. Do something about that. I guess this is kind of a segue into that, but do something fun to pay homage to the creator of SpongeBob. More than just 5 seconds in the Super Bowl where they do an intro and then they don't do the song. But again, it should be fine for you to protest as long as you aren't doing anything violently. You should be able to. Like it's one thing to be like burning the flag and protest than to just kneel for it. Like those are totally different things. And kneeling's the respective way, burning the flag's the disrespectful. And like it or hate it, that is my opinion on the thing. You don't have to think the same way about it, but that is just how I feel. Please don't hate me for that, because everybody should be entitled to their own opinion. You guys can have your own opinion about how, wow, that guy totally disrespecting the country shouldn't be allowed to play anymore. Whereas me and some of my other friends are like, no, he should be allowed to play. That's a good thing that he was doing, not the best way that he could have protested it, but it was peaceful and he was trying to get his point across. So you can have your own opinions. I'm not telling you what opinion to have. I'm just telling you my opinion and some of the other opinion, because I think it's good to have a balance of each so that you can see where the other side's coming from. So don't just strictly be on one side of that. Have a bit of both. You can have it be like 75-25 or something like that, but know something about the other side about it, so that when people try to tell you about it, you can understand more of what they're saying. And maybe it changes your point of view, maybe it doesn't, but at least be open to their point of view, because maybe their point of view makes more sense than yours. It doesn't have to, but maybe it does. So you have to be open to that. I get that we just got way off of sports, but it's life, and you have to be ready for that. So, okay, on to the MLB strike from that. So from one grievance to another. Adam Wainwright said the other day that he would not be surprised if the MLB went on strike this year because of all the collusion from GMs to try to get players as low as they can. Even though all through the minor leagues, which some of these guys never get to the big leagues, some of these guys only get to the minor leagues, or they're in the big leagues for 1 year and then they get hurt. Some of these guys will never make they will make minimum wage or less, because a lot of these guys get paid like an intern, which is under minimum wage, or they get paid minimum wage and they're at the poverty line. So it's just like working a normal job, or working worse than a normal job, and just it's the same as working at like McDonald's, only you're playing baseball instead of working at McDonald's. But you only get paid per game. So it's not like every single day. So a lot of them, that's why a lot of the players will need somewhere to stay, like a house. And then people provide them food and stuff because they are living below the poverty line. So that's why a lot of these guys are getting mad at GMs for holding out on them and trying to get them as low as they can, price-wise, when they're in the big leagues, because they're trying to make up for that money, so that hopefully they don't run out or go bankrupt. So a lot of these guys deserve the money too. Like Bryce Harper, he doesn't deserve as much money as he's asking, in my opinion. I think he should be paid what he's worth, not what he wants. Justin Verlander doesn't want to get paid what people want him to. He wants to get paid what he deserves. And that is how a lot of players should be paid, I feel like. And Justin Verlander, speaking of him, he ripped on all the GMs and told them that they just need to sign guys and stop holding out on them and wronging them out of money. And just ripped into them about it, and it was pretty great. But you shouldn't be colluding against guys. You guys have the money. There's no shortage of the money. You are owning a team. You have a crap ton of money. You have a boatload of money. You can pay an extra $500,000 to someone. You don't have to hold out on them to get them $500,000 cheaper. Just pay them what they are worth, not what you want them to be worth, not what they want to be worth. Maybe even give them a bit more to try to get them to come back to you if you like them. Even if they are a young talent and you see a future in them, instead of paying them what they're worth, maybe give them a few thousand more. Just try to get them to stay with you. That's what I do when I play video games. I have to re-sign people. If I see promise in them, or if I really like their character or something like that, like how they act and stuff, I'll pay them a little bit more. Cause I'm like, I like you. I like the fact that you have promise to and you have a lot of potential. I'll give you a little bit extra. And the managers can do that. They have the money. You don't need to be like, well, I really like you, but we want to get you like 10 mil cheaper for 1 year. No, just pay them what they're worth. If you like them, pay them a little bit extra. It can be like $10,000 extra. It doesn't matter. Just pay them a bit extra or pay them what they're worth. It's very simple. Don't be paying these guys $400 million over 9 years or something crazy like that. Just pay them what they're worth. And I'm signed with Verlander 100% on this. Just stop holding out. I want a full season. I don't want half a season because of an MLB strike. Or I don't want replacement players playing for the teams, or them having to call up young guys and then not paying them a good salary and just paying them minor league salaries again. I don't want that. Off that topic, now to the AAF and back to football. I'm actually curious, do you guys consider this pro or semi-pro football? I'm considering this pro football. The XFL, the NFL, and the CFL, I consider pro football. Semi-pro, I would consider the arena leagues and like all these other leagues that are smaller. But if you are having a TV deal like this, I'm considering them pro. Well, I guess there might be semi-pro leagues that have a TV deal, but like if you're a big thing like the AAF, the XFL, the CFL, NFL, that's pro. Under that is semi-pro, in my opinion. But I'd like to hear what you guys think about that. Or is the AAF semi-pro or pro football? Okay. So week 1, because I didn't cover it last week, San Antonio beat San Diego 15-6 in the first game of the AAF. And then, so that was a really low-scoring game. But then the next game got real interesting because Orlando beat Atlanta 40-6. So we went from a super low-scoring game to a super high-scoring game. And then the next day, Birmingham beat Memphis 26-0. And then Arizona beat Salt Lake 38-22. And that wrapped up the first week of play. And then yesterday wrapped up the second week of play after Saturday's games of Orlando beating San Antonio 37-29, San Diego beating Atlanta 24-12, and then Sunday, Birmingham beating Salt Lake 12-9 in a very close game, and Arizona beating Memphis in an even closer game of 20-18. That was all 2 weeks of the AAF. We'll be covering them. Next year when the XFL starts up, we'll be covering them too. Let me know if when the CFL starts up, if you guys want to see us covering that. And let us know of other sports teams that you want to see us cover. If you think that we should be covering more teams. Maybe we can start covering the whole league for the NFL next year. I'm not sure. When we get to the tournament, I'll cover all the rounds of it. And I will list off all winners and who's moving on to the next round. Once we get a few rounds in, I'll tell you what teams played, probably. Oh, no, yeah. For round of 64, I might do every winner and loser. But we will not be covering NIT unless you guys really want to. But NIT is not very fun. It's the you lost, but we're still going to put you in a tournament to make you feel better about yourselves. And March Madness, the NCAA tournament is where that is. So we'll definitely be covering that because that's huge. On to wrestling. Last night was the Elimination Chamber, and I didn't watch a lot of it. I watched the Tag Team Elimination Chamber, and then the SmackDown Tag Team title match. Then I watched the regular Elimination Chamber, because the other ones apparently weren't very good. And I was kind of getting bored with it because it wasn't a great show all around. But last night, in the first match of the night, we crowned the quote-unquote first ever women's tag team champions in the WWE. There have been women's tag team champions in the WWE before. It's actually just the WWE women's tag team champions. And crowned last night was the Boss and Hug Connection of Bayley and Sasha Banks, which is pretty good because I like both of them. That's one half of the Four Horsewomen. Yeah, I thought it was a good call. Maybe not the best call because, yeah, in order for them to have the titles at Mania, they kind of have to just sweep them under the rug, and then I don't know, it's gonna be real boring with them, but yeah. Buddy Murphy defended his title last night successfully against Ajira Tanawa, I think. I didn't watch that, so I don't know. I just know that he won. The Usos beat Mac and Miz to become your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, and they are now a 6-time Tag Team Champion in the US. In the WWE, which only 5 other teams I think have done that. Let's see, Hardy Boys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, there's one other team at least, I cannot think of who it is. So they're either 5 or 6 to do so, but there haven't been that many teams that have done it. I know that, so that's pretty impressive that they're doing it, and good for them. Then on Raw, I was actually at Raw this week, and this was very surprising when the Revival beat, they beat Chad Gable and Bobby Roode for the tag team titles. I was not expecting it, because I was expecting them to lose, and then because they want to go to AEW, so maybe WWE is trying to keep them around, so they're trying to give them the titles to give them incentives to stay. I'm not sure. Either way, I'm happy that they have the titles. They deserve them. Daniel Bryan successfully retained his title last night in the Elimination Chamber match. Kofi Kingston almost won that. I was watching that, and there were so many near falls for both of them. But as soon as he hit that last running knee, I knew that Kofi was done, sadly. R-Truth has not defended his title. Asuka has not defended her title, not his. Ronda Rousey defended her title successfully last night against Ruby Riott of the Riott Squad. Not surprising. She's going to hold it till Mania. Brock Lesnar, of course, did not defend his title. Finn Balor last night won the IC title in a 2-on-1 handicap match, where it was him versus Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush. Good for Balor. It's his first singles title since 2017. And I believe that might have been the IC title, but I thought, was it the Universal title? It was either Universal or IC. I think it was the IC title, but good for him anyways. Really enjoy him as a champ. So, great for him. No title changes with NXT. Let's see, anything else in wrestling? Strowman got beat last night by Baron Corbin because there was help from Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre. And besides that, I think that was the whole Elimination Chamber and all this week in WWE. AEW is ramping up towards their, not pay-per-view, but, well, no, I guess it is a pay-per-view because they still are selling views for it. So their pay-per-view Double or Nothing, which should be really good. I cannot wait for them to start AEW. That's gonna be real good. So I do like me some pro wrestling. And I do like me some indie guys. I believe that wraps up everything from this week, except for the weekly question. And it is, do you think players deserve a second chance in the NFL? And my answer to that is it depends on what they did. So personally, I think Kareem Hunt did deserve a second chance for it, just because of the background to his story and why he got violent during that. Ray Rice, I would not say should be in the NFL, and he hasn't been, and he won't be. So I agree with that. Michael Vick. Ooh, that one's a tough one. Because a lot of me says no, he shouldn't be, but at the same time, kind of. That one's not really clear. Colin Kaepernick, of course, I want back in the league, and because he didn't really do anything wrong with kneeling and protesting. So I think for sure he should be allowed back in. I guess it really depends on what they did for it, but a lot of guys I feel like should get a second chance at the NFL. So let me know your opinions on that. And yeah. Don't forget to go to Beyond Beanie and use our promo code OG25. That's capital O, capital G, 25, no space in there at all. And buy some merch. Goes towards a great cause. Goes towards kids in need for dental work, meals, clothes, school supplies. There are other ones, but I can't think of them. It goes towards a great cause. Go support them. Their stuff's not really expensive. There are a whole bunch of deals all the time on there, and the stuff's all handcrafted, so you know it's not mass manufacturing them. They're all signed by the artist on a tag. All really nice quality stuff. So just go support them. Again, promo code is OG25. Capital O, capital G, 25, no spaces at all. And that will wrap up this podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this with your friends. And I'll be back next week. And let us know if you guys want us to expand our coverage to other teams or anything like that, or other areas of pro sports, or college sports. But besides that wraps it up. Okay.